Shelly is the newest epic fire hero in Crush Them All, and today we're going to take a good look at what makes her good and why so many players are recommending her. I hope you're ready for a meta-shifting movement in this week's Heroes Magnified series. Shelly makes her debut as the female fire barbarian of epic rarity. She has a new feature called Explodes on Death, and is ultimately considered by many of the top players as the second or third strongest tank option in Crush Them All. Today's video is going to dig into the how and why that makes her desired, and hopefully helps in your own decision making when it comes to using this hero. Let's start by looking over her base traits. With anti-knockback, she can avoid the troublesome Aqua, Ra, and Goddess pushback effects. Explodes upon death can hurt and potentially kill weaker enemies that walk over her corpse, which ultimately could swing the tide of battle in your favor. Her 2-star ability can inflict stun, very similar to Spike in this capacity, a relatively straightforward 3-star ability, and finally a 4-star ability to debuff enemy critical damage. We're going to take a more in-depth look at most of these features in today's Heroes Magnified video. Being a fire element tank means that she can help go against the Gladiator and Leaf Blade heavy meta that is currently seen in the game, and this may lead to a shift in the meta as a whole. This also leads to 2 viable builds for Shelly. She can suit the role of a smasher, and she can suit the role of a wall tank. Mr. Moogle has provided data for both builds, and we will take a look at both of these builds in a side-by-side view. For the wall tank Shelly, you'll want to use your standard sets of Vitality and Nimble runes, all with HP primary. For a third set, there are a few options to choose from, but notably, Resist, Dazed, Guard, Damage, and Swift are all viable options. This is largely due to her 2-star ability, which we'll be taking a stronger look at shortly. The core of the set is going to be Vitality and Nimble runes. Regardless of your third set selection, you should try and run HP primaries for her, as with any good tank set. This is a very straightforward build, with the biggest threats being posed by Atlantis, Namada, and Aqua. This threat to Shelly can be mitigated a good amount by running Namada and Dark Hunter. It is worth noting, for attacking purposes, this is one of the better tanks to choose. This is especially true for enemies that are running either one or both of the Crit Sisters, Alda and Valkyrie. At 7 stars, Shelly can reduce the DPS of a team running both of the Critsters by 60%. This is due to Shelly's ability to diminish enemy critical damage through her 4-star ability. Shelly can also be a valuable asset as a wall tank when built with this purpose in mind, for using her primarily for attacking. When defending, either in Arena or Guild War, Shelly would find herself susceptible to strong enemy water heroes and may prove too easy a target if she is your only tank for defense. For the Offhand Tank, the Smasher build will be very good with Shelly. The standard Smasher set is Vitality, Damage, and then either Precise or Swift, depending on which runes you have available. Though, due to her 2-star ability, there could be an argument made for Dazed as well if you lack Swift runes, if the Dazed runes that you have may suit her better. My main qualm with Dazed for the Smasher is that it's primarily only going to affect the frontline heroes, and the only frontline threats that she really faces at this time are Atlantis and Aqua, of which Atlantis can't be stunned. So it's kind of a waste to run it against him. Shelly's ability to diminish enemy critical damage is still going to come into play with this build, which will help counteract some of the major water damage threats that she'll be receiving from Atlantis. But what is going to help a lot is going to be her ability to pop a shield, and the more damage and the faster she can attack, the better. This leads me to recommend all of those oddball runes like Vitality with attack and attack range, or Vitality with attack speed and attack range. Damage can be a mix as needed, but you've probably got some damage runes with HP primary and attack range secondaries that would be fine to use here. Swift runes are needed by a lot of heroes, but if you can spare them here, you'll find a nice edge for Shelly as a smasher tank. And as if all of that was not enough, there is another smasher build which is even more viable, which is the AoE smasher. Just like Atlantis and Onyx, Shelly can make decent usage of area of effect to deal damage to backline heroes as well. There isn't a lot of backline earth threats besides Thorn and Misty, but Shelly can bring the heat, pun intended. To build an AoE Shelly, you'll want to run Vitality, Damage, and either Precise or Swift runes with AoE primaries, or alternatively, run Damage, Swift, and Splash as needed to get the AoE coverage you're looking for. For most endgame builds, you're going to want 180% area of effect or close to it. If you find yourself with a lot of AoE primary runes for these sets, then this might be a strong build for you. Now, in order to understand why these builds are so effective, we need to take a good look at her abilities. We'll start on the front of her hero card and check these out first. So she has the Barbarian trait Anti-Knockback, which prevents her from getting pushed from heroes like I'd mentioned earlier, Ra, Aqua, and Goddess. She also sports this new ability, called Explodes Upon Death, which, like the name suggests, causes an explosion when she dies, dealing a modest amount of AoE damage near her. It is worth noting that this Explodes Upon Death ability cannot crit. The AoE is based off of her 350 base AoE, which stems from her 2-star ability. Basically, this has a chance to kill enemy heroes as they step over her corpse, as it offers a short delay before the explosion. As I'd mentioned earlier, this could be just the thing to turn the tide in battle and swing a clutch victory in your favor. And flipping the card over, we can see that her 2-star ability, she has Heavy Blow. Now this should remind you of another hero we've covered, because this is the same exact 2-star ability that Spike has. This offers an AoE blow with a stun chance. This is one of the 2-star abilities that scale and grow stronger with higher star levels, basically opening the door to all kinds of alternative builds from this hero. But wait, there's more. That's right. Shelly's 2-star Heavy Blow is different from Spike's because Shelly takes the damage she dealt and turns it into a shield. This shield scales based on the amount of damage dealt, though it is worth noting that it caps at 30%. So striking a balance between damage and attack per second is vital for the Smasher Shelly build, as more frequent attacks means more shields more often, and stronger damage means longer lasting shields. This is what really sets Shelly apart, but the fun doesn't stop here with her. There are still more abilities. Shelly's 3-star ability is called Turtle Shell, and it does this. Just kinda lobs a giant turtle shell down the screen. This deals normal ultimate damage, and honestly there's nothing special here. It's kind of a fun ultimate, being different from the norm. This is not where she shines though, and no one should be using her for her ultimate in my opinion. Shelly's 4-star ability is where she really starts to shine. Her 4-star ability is Debuff Critical Damage. This is a universal debuff of your enemy team. This ability is especially effective against teams that have one or both of the critsters, that is, Alda and Valkyrie. This also helps with her ability to survive against enemy Atlantis, since the majority of Atlantises are built with a big emphasis on crit chance and crit damage. She still takes ×4 elemental damage from water heroes, but this really helps to mitigate the amount of damage she takes on the front end when an enemy crits. This does balance out with the fact that heavy earth tanks like Gladiator and Leafblade are largely considered meta, or the most effective tactic available for non-whale players. Now we have to talk about the fact, and quite honestly the glaring fact, that Shelly's metals are harder to gather than Gladiator, and in many ways also Leafblade. Her medals can be unlocked through fortune chests, through the Crusade shop, and then farmed from Fire Daily dungeons. I would recommend spending Crusade coins on her and focusing on Fire dungeons if you aim to max her to use as a tank. You can use magic medals on her as well, but as an epic hero, this will prove quite expensive and you'll find yourself saving medals for a very long time if you choose to go this route. That said, there isn't anything wrong with taking a well-balanced approach and doing all three to garner her medals. As a reminder, this game is a marathon and not a sprint. Now, in summary, Shelly has the ability to shine as a wall tank for attacking purposes, but would work well as a smasher tank for attacking and defending. In a world of heavy earth tanks, she offers a fire alternative, and can effectively lower enemy DPS regardless of being used in the primary or smasher tank roles. When it comes down to it, she is an epic rarity hero and brings plenty to the table to support that. She would make a strong tank for Arena, Guild War, Crusades, and Blitz modes. She offers a fresh take on tank options, and it will be good to see more getting built in the next few months. This will likely lead to a meta shift, and we may start seeing more Atlantis and Aqua combos on defensive teams. Due to her weakness of water heroes, Shelly does really well when comboed with Namada, who debuffs enemy water attack. Between Shelly's own debuff and Namada's debuff, she can make water heroes a lot less scary. As I conclude today's video, I would like to give a thanks to Medivh for making the thumbnail for this video and all our other thumbnails, and I'm very grateful for all of his hard work. If you see him on the official Discord, be sure to give him a shout out. I'd also like to thank Godsy Lab for sponsoring today's video. I'd like to thank several Discord users who helped contribute to the content covered today, namely Aristai, Longest Yaboy, Mr. Moogle, and Flocky. I'd also like to thank users, such as yourself, who watch my videos and encourage me to continue making content. Your contributions are more appreciated than you know. If you'd like to support this channel in other ways, there are several things that you can do. Comments, likes, and subscribing are great ways to show your support. You can also show your support financially by donating to my Patreon. The link to become a patron is in the description below. And that's all the time we have for today. I appreciate you watching this video through to the very end. Thanks for watching.